So today there will be less people because there are more people in the room here. So I'm with Bertrand, but Bertrand, I think, went get something to drink. Antoine is here too.
Hello.
And we have 2 guests, but you have to guess who.
Taylor.
Isn't that the reason they call it guest?
Sorry, Rob, Russell. This was Russell. I don't know if it's Rob or Russell. It's Russell. What do you say?
Isn't that the reason they're called guests?
Well, there are 2 more guests in the room with us, with me and Antoine and Bertrand. So guess who? You have to guess, otherwise they won't say anything.
Is it the 2 Scots?
It's a pretty tough guess.
Oh, no, those ones they don't care about Orchard. I mean, people care about Orchard somehow.
Taylor and Fowler?
No, those ones don't care either. Just when there is a conference and they can join us.
Maybe a hint from Twitter?
Maybe a hint from Twitter. Did you follow Bertrand's Twitter account?
Yes, the guy from Umbraco.
Yeah. So there is the guy and there is another guy actually. There are 2. There is Morten Morgensen. That's it.
Christensen.
Oh, why? Morten Christensen and
Shannon Dominic
from Umbraco. And they are here. No, Nils Artsvig, he doesn't care about Orchard. They are here because of the MVP Summit, which is in Redmond right now. And we met them by chance yesterday and this morning. So we're like, okay, we have a podcast. Do you want to join us? It would be fun. Let's steal all the secrets from Umbraco. All the source code and everything. So that's fine. Yeah, so you will be able to, everyone can talk. We have an open microphone. Oh, water, cool. You are too kind. Let me clean as usual, well, it's pretty clean right now. I will just share for the ones in the room. 1 second. I need the white thing. So if you have questions about Umbraco, actually, that's when you should do that and maybe ask how they do things that we struggle. Maybe the opposite. Maybe if they want to ask us a question, we will take the time for that. So you can see, good. I'm sharing my screen too. Benedek, you're recording. You might have to cut some parts of the meeting, Benedek.
Yeah, really? Why?
There were actually the guys also from .NET Nuke, but we didn't think about inviting them. They were in another...
We're out of space in the car.
That's true. Yeah. That'd have been very cozy.
Yeah, we would have had to put him in the trunk, and I don't think that
I would have rolled and playing faster. Okay, so... meetings. I have something on the schedule for today. Is Alberto here today? I don't see him, but he raised a question, so we'll see. So who's there? Daniel is back. Sipke is here. Zoltán, Piotr. Wow. Okay, so status. Status. What else? Umbraco. We have so many questions to Umbraco. Twitter, this is the thing. Demos. Anyone? Nick, nothing new?
No, not this week. Just lots of breaking things.
Okay. Zoltán, nothing. Daniel, no demos? Okay, so maybe I will show something. We'll see if we have time and people are interested. Okay, status. Let's start with the status. So for the Umbracoians, yeah. So we always start with looking at what happened on the repository the past week. And you will see it's pretty active. Look at that. Crazy. So we ended last week with that. Let me check. 6 days, 7 days. Yes, this was the last thing we talked about from Sipke. This must be, no, this is not the fix on the security issue, might be later. Yes. Challenge email sent. Just line endings. Okay. Line endings. On which branch? Dev. Okay, so this is fixing. Okay, so you kept the feature, but you protected it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I will find another issue then, don't worry. Merge branch, which one is that? Oh, okay, so this is a big one. And I think it's breaking some unit tests in the dev branch. So this one, you see all the changes? Kind of crazy. This is on the dev branch to let you define where you want your modules to be taken from. And they can be from different locations. So if I look at the web config where you define that, it's so it's from Barrow. Is Barrow here? No. Still, thank you. So now you see you have. Oh, we should have cleaned the examples, but the idea is by default they will be taken from the /modules and /themes folders, and you can define custom locations too. This way, when you do your own development, you can target a specific folder and have all your modules there. And you are sure not to collide with any other modules, and also to add just this folder in your source control management system if you want. Okay. And all the features have been updated to support that. I think actually what was broken is just the unit test because there are new services to support that and new default implementations, but they are not injecting the unit test yet. So it should be easy to fix. That's the pretty big new feature. And it's on the dev branch. Please try it and give us feedback if you find any issues. Okay. So this one, so we talked about it 2 weeks ago. It's about one of the methods from the navigation was not calling all the filters, and now it's done, fixing one of the bugs. And it's in dev too. Adding launcher dashboards to project dependencies. Okay, so we fixed it. By the way, someone pinged me on Skype, I think, I'm aware, stating that there is a dashboard folder in the 192 source code.
Benedek.
Benedek, Antoine said. Well, in the source code or in the web deployment? Oh boy.
In the source code.
This one. Yes.
All right, so yeah, just it's there for some reason. I don't know. By the way, in the meanwhile, just a quick announcement. So Crowdin is updated for Orchard 192. So
Okay.
go and translate.
There is a folder. Okay, but that's fine. We don't care, right? Because there is a manifest, so it won't impact anything. but if it's there, it means that some folder has been created in the 192 branch. So it should be fixed in 19x. Did you create an issue for that? To delete the folder in 19x?
No, not yet. I created.
You can also submit a PR, and even you can even fix it. You
I
know how
can
to do
fix
that.
it. Yeah, that's right.
Push it. 19x branch. This one is on the 19x branch. This is JavaScript fix. Sipke apparently pulled it, which is frame window, get window in the layout thing. Okay. Use dialogues frames cheaper to forms. Good. This one is a pull request from Sipke, which is improvements apparently on the modules folder. Okay, big changes. Or is it a pull request in 2 steps? Oh no, this is the merge of the pull request. Okay, no, this is the merge of the pull request, right? The actual. Cool. And no, and I pulled it on Thursday, and this is a commit from Sipke, which is to use invoke extension. Correct. Yes. Instead of creating your own, use the existing one. That's good. Good. Okay. So one thing which we talked about for 1.10 was so 1.10. Just maybe I'm repeating myself, but we are waiting for the Azure AD module to be in. And last time I checked it, there was no pull request. Radio system. No, there was no pull request, and we close. Let me check. Nope. So I will ask the Microsoft employee who improved that and who implemented the missing features where the pull request is, and if you can recreate it maybe, so we can take it into Orchard. And also the blocking changes that we looked at last week for 1.10. Okay, this topic first. So Alberto pinged me yesterday. He's still not in the room. Nope. Pinged me yesterday. Just explaining his concerns. For instance, he struggled with. So I will take an example, and then we can expand the discussion to more modules. But the example was a Twitter module. He found a Twitter module on the gallery. Okay, maybe there are 5 of them. I don't know, but he found one. He wanted to use it.
I did one a while ago.
And his issue was that he spent, let's say, half a day trying to make the module work on 192. Because the module was not compiling anymore, because it was done for an old version of Orchard. And then when he made it compile, then the API was still on V1 and not on V2 for Twitter, so it was not working. And then after half a day trying to make the module work, just for a simple Twitter module or feature, he made his own, let's say. So you imagine he was pissed off, like everyone will be, trying to reuse something and taking more time to reuse than just implement it. What can we do? I have solutions in mind. First solution will be, so should we define a list of modules or features, like Twitter, that we know most of the websites we want to use, because if you create a website today, you want a Twitter feed somehow to be displayed on the website. Should we bake them into core, or should we let them in the gallery but support them and ensure that it works all the time? If so, are there other APIs that we want to support out of the box with Orchard that are not, which will not make it usually in core, but because they are so used by every website, we should have them and ensure that they don't work. So Twitter, I think, is a great example, because I said every website, most of the websites will need a Twitter widget somehow, widgets and many other things. So what do you think?
So like an official selection of good modules and useful ones?
Well, I will take that as a suggestion, to have a officially suggested list of modules. But it's not about suggested, it's about it has to work with every Orchard version.
So we're talking about a curated set of modules, really, on the gallery perhaps, or some other place.
And again, curated doesn't mean it will work. Well, so the question is more about, should we support this module, like the Orchard team, and say we don't ship 1.9 whatever until this module works because we don't want to break them, or they have to work with every Orchard release?
That's a tough one. I mean,
should we do that? Yeah, but at the same time, it's related to the curated/suggested list of modules. So curated has more meaning than suggested. So I will use this one, but it's about ship blocker. As long as they don't work, we can't ship. It's not as important as we have it in core and we support that, but we are waiting for them to be fixed before shipping a new version. Does it make sense?
What's the official policy on staying API compatible? I mean, I noticed there's lots of changes coming in, but does 1.9 mean that the API is not going to change until 1.10? So
yes.
That way we can. So then, really, your modules only need to be curated every major version release, basically, right? So that would be less overhead, it seems.
So small version release like 1.9 dot something are always non-breaking API changes. We can have new APIs, new modules, but as long as they don't change, they don't break anything, we ship it. 1.10, 11, and so on, they have breaking changes or significant new features. At the same time, in this case, let's say it was not breaking in Orchard, but it was a Twitter API which changed. So the module was not working anymore with the current Twitter. It was like deprecated. Nobody was maintaining the module. So it will still not work. So there are two different issues. And should we have such modules with Orchard release schedule?
I think this is too big of an undertaking, but rather what I would do is to let the community decide which are the most important modules in a specific category due to getting voted on in the gallery. Because in the new gallery we should probably also have a voting feature or something like this. And once this is done, so we have the top 10 modules or something like that, then we should probably take especially care about notifying these authors that, hey, these were the changes, please check. But I don't think we can do that ourselves, realistically.
Okay, so nobody thinks.
I honestly don't think that Twitter being a third party should be part of the core. I mean, because technically, our projects, we don't use Twitter or Facebook or any of the other social media because all the projects we have are internal. And I would think core has to do more with the core package or the core services. Now, I have no problem with Twitter being, a cared for module, but as for it to be in the core, I don't think it belongs there.
I don't think we are talking about that. Just a module that I wouldn't probably say care about, but still care a bit more about as a third-party module. So it wouldn't be part of the core distribution that you can see just here.
Okay, so we have third-party modules, actually, Lucene, TinyMC. The difference is we rely on them to have default implementation for some things. Orchard will work without a Twitter widget, for sure. So it could be seen as an external module, the gallery module. Lucene is the default implementation for the search engine, so we need that. But it can be replaced, but we need a default implementation, so we decided to use Lucene. TinyMC is the default implementation for the editor. It's still an external thing, but we include it. jQuery, we don't have a module. But yes, we don't have things like Facebook or Twitter in the...
Well, we sort of do. We have the Azure Media Services.
Azure is a different beast. We have many things from Azure. Azure is on the verge of...
Well, so what I mean, there is a distinction there between parts of Azure that we need to support because we want to host Orchard on Azure. But media services really doesn't fall in that category. It's sort of, I mean, it's on the same level with Twitter and Facebook, really. It's just for a different kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Right. But do you mean that because of this, we should think about incorporating Twitter, or?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. What I mean is probably that we should, if we draw the line somewhere, we should apply it consistently, and either throw out that module or consider putting more stuff in there.
It's also who is making the module. If it's someone in the core development of Orchard and can support that, that's fine. Like layouts, you are the only one with Sipke to be able to hack layouts, but still it's in the core and we have to maintain it and to make it work. Twitter, if it's someone who doesn't even use Orchard anymore, it's harder to take that into account and say, well, or we will do our own module, not grab the... Because so the Twitter module in the gallery is done. Okay, it doesn't work and nobody works on that. What should we do? Ask the guy to maintain it? No, we need to build a new one.
I'm wondering if perhaps we could have like an officially supported contrib set of modules that are sort of something in between third-party and what's in core.
That's what that was the idea of the question. It should be ship blocker, meaning it's third-party, but we can't ship if this doesn't work because it's too important, and someone has to fix it. If it's not the owner and he needs help, we need to help him because it's part of Orchard, the Orchard ecosystem.
Yeah, and we version it the same way as Orchard.
WordPress will do the same thing. If their main theme contributor is not on par with the latest WordPress, they will not ship WordPress. Or we are waiting for partners to be there before shipping something. So I think that's the most obvious solution for us. So officially curated list of modules, I'm not sure we can call it like this, but it's a list of modules we know that have to work before we can ship. And that is then, well.
So if we treat them like Orchard source code and we version them like Orchard code, what is the disadvantage of actually shipping them in the distribution? Besides file size, I guess.
And are there some that we absolutely want and we should have, like Twitter, for instance? An example, Twitter doesn't exist today as an official module or working module. And feature set that we know we would like for Twitter. So should we do one? Should we incorporate them in core? It in core, leave it on the gallery? By the past, we tried that. We tried to have some modules only on the gallery. For instance, Lucene was there. Can't remember which one was also. Yeah, Lucene, the list also was there also, and then we decided to go back and to have them into the source code because it was a pain to maintain it and people would have to always download it from the gallery. So we were like, okay, let's ship it by default. So is this an example?
We had a few designer tools for.
I can have the list because it's all the ones I personally manage on the gallery. And
actually, they should disappear from the gallery because
from the new one.
Lots of people are getting confused and installing them over.
So personally, I'm not opposed to having some of them in core, even if it's a category or a subfolder of modules, like because if we have to maintain them, then let's make it in our repository instead of an outside repository. But taking this decision is you can't go back on that. If we take the code inside, well, we have to maintain it. So I don't know.
Some people are suggesting in the chat that we might have two distributions.
No.
The same thing is like we still have it in the Orchard core, but we deploy it differently. We do two. It's not about distributing. Distributing is easy. Who maintains that? That's the issue.
Historically, Orchard had some submodules back when it was on Mercurial. So what about making these not part of the Orchard source, but handling them almost as part of the Orchard source and having them as separate repositories, so you can add them as submodules?
About the idea of separate distribution, anybody is free to create their own distribution of Orchard. You could imagine somebody creating awesome Orchard, for example, that has a selection of the best modules that exist already built in, ready to use. That would be an interesting idea, and maybe something that we would actually advertise on the download section as well. But us, the core team, maintaining more than one distribution, I think is a really bad idea.
So I will suggest something. And by the way, I should not forget about it. I will suggest that those modules should be in the gallery and should be managed by the community, but we should ensure that they work for each version of Orchard. We're not breaking them, or we are helping to fix them so that they work with the new version. This way, we can even give the ownership to anyone from the community, and more people can help, and without having the rights to the Orchard repository.
And they could even be considered ship blockers.
Yep.
How do we identify these modules?
We decide, and we can change our mind. That's also good. Yeah.
We vote on them.
Why not votes in the gallery? Because this shouldn't be something static.
Wait, yeah, it can evolve, but we have to decide, because even if the user says, oh, well, we might say, no, we can't support that because technically we can't. So we won't promise that we can never do that. We have to decide if we do that or not. Like when we take a module in the core, we decide if we want to take it in the core, because it means we have to support that. So voting, and I will say steering committee voting. But we could have a category, yes, if we want in the gallery to list them, but it will probably be on the website documentation saying, okay, these ones will always work, or they will have a tag in the gallery so that people can identify them. Good. And which one do you think we should have? I think Twitter is important, and I think we need a widget, we need an element, and we need a token. We can talk about it later, but just an idea, and then if you think of some others, please open issues in the repository, and we can talk about it. Okay. And feel free to again open an issue on GitHub and continue the talk on that if we are missing some things, but we can't take all the meeting to talk about it. Good? That's a good compromise, I think. Elections. Start today. Where is someone? I'll show it complex. Why are you laughing? It's not funny.
Because it's taking you a long time.
Maybe it works and that's still good.
Sebastian, I pasted you a link.
Thank you. You see, links works. So, and I was okay. This link. So for the ingredients here, every year we elect who drives the open source committee, the steering committee, and anyone from the community can vote. Okay, and it's completely open. So the last 2 weeks we opened the call for candidates, meaning anyone can say I'm a candidate. So this was just a fix. Antoine here is there, Bertrand, myself, Sipke, Zoltán, Benedek, and Piotr. That's all?
So how many is this? 6?
That's everyone.
That's everyone. But usually Nick enlists too. Daniel, you didn't. I would think maybe you will this year. I don't know. So but it's closed. Unless anyone else from the meeting wants to enlist?
Not even an hour, like half an hour.
Yeah. So
Well, they would have to type really fast.
Let's say that
So we
before the end of the meeting.
Antoine, Bertrand, we have Sébastien. Sipke. I wanted to take them in the order. So give them in the order. You have the order, right?
Sipke, Zoltán, and Benedek.
The current committee is there anyone from the current committee who didn't? I think everyone is here. Let's see if I'm missing someone. So the elections. Where is my elections page here? So November 3rd, that's today. So in the next 2 weeks, is Brett here? Brett is not here. Crap. So the idea is that during the next 2 weeks, we will send to vote an email to Brett. Adrian hasn't shown up in the last 2 weeks. To Brett to send your votes, and based on that, you will get in return a GUID, which will identify yourself, and and all the votes will be published online with your GUID, so nobody knows who you are, but you know who you are because you have the GUID. Brett is the only one to know about it, but we need another one to validate that, right? That's what we did every year. We have someone to ensure that Brett is not cheating. Who wants to be the one who will check the votes with Brett? And you can't be enlisted as a candidate. Nick, we trust you. You could do that, right? You have time.
I'm sorry, what?
Just to be the new Adrian this year.
Are the votes up until next Tuesday?
No, 2 weeks.
Because I'm not around for the next week and a half.
In vacation again.
Daniel, I can't ask you because you work with Sipke.
You can't ask me what?
I can't ask you to be the validator.
Oh, that's okay. I wasn't hoping.
George, would you mind just checking that Brett is not cheating?
He's writing.
He's writing. Thank you, George. He's just validating that Brett is not taking the votes. We trust him totally, but it's just for the paperwork. George Graz, like this. Blah 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 blah. So Deep thread. Let me check. I will publish I will fill in the blanks and publish the thread with the good values. And I don't remember if there was a public way to vote. I think you can vote publicly, right, on the Codeplex.
Yes, we did it past years, but is it really useful? Actually, some people thought it was counterproductive because it's like voting with hands-up vote. There is an effect that affects the result in there.
Okay, so you can vote.
Secret vote is better. It's more fair.
Last year it was already secret.
Okay,
It was already secret.
Yeah, that's great because the terms don't say that. You can vote by simply replying on the voting thread. No.
Yeah.
You can vote by sending an email to Brett and George. Make a rule, okay?
Brett will create an email.
Yeah, okay. I will publish the email later when Brett gives me the UI. Okay, we'll see. 2 weeks. What did I miss?
Last year it was vote@brettmorrison.com.
Yeah, I'm sure it still works, but he has to set up the rule for CCing George too. So when we have elected the steering committee, with made of 5 people, then the steering committee elects the benevolent dictator.
Right. He's like the.
No, if there is no agreement, he can decide. But we have never had to.
He has 1.1 votes, so he can override, ties.
Okay.
And in principle, the benevolent dictator has a veto right on decisions, but that has never been used in the history of Orchard.
Right.
Does that also apply to the choice of dictator?
No.
No, of course not.
But if you look at the past dictator votes, last year Sipke was candidate, and because he was the only one, I also enlisted just to have a choice. I don't like when there is no choice. And then he voted for me, and he was the only one to vote or something like that. I'm like, fuck. So, yeah. Okay.
Are all you French guys in the same room today?
Yes, Antoine, Bertrand, and myself.
Oh, cool.
But there are more French people in the meeting for sure. No, there is always. No?
No.
No. Oh, crazy. So we don't have
Christian.
We don't have Jean-Thierry, whoever. No, we don't have them. Even Jasmin is not here, who speaks French too. Okay. Where is Jasmin? We need him. Okay, good. Let me go back to the meetings, meeting notes, elections, open, thread to be published. 2 things. So, because we have Umbraco people in the room, do you have questions? I have questions. Oh, Baro is there. Baro, we talked about your match. Thank you very much. Now I've asked people to test it now and find some bugs. But thank you. It's done. Finally, in the dev branch, with a few commits.
Okay, I hope everything will go smoothly.
We'll see. We will know. We'll ping you to fix it. So questions to Morten and Shannon. Nick, you have a question.
Do I?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me think.
Maybe you don't know. Shannon is the guy who created the repository for Linux.
Oh yeah. Okay. How's that going?
Slowly. We've got all the logic in there to handle the way Umbraco routes. So that's our starting point. It's kind of exciting. So yeah, I'll just be tinkering away at that for, I guess, the next few months.
Nice.
But yeah, the routing's pretty pretty good. It's a lot less code than the current Umbraco solution.
No, honestly, Nick, when we compare your work to so Nick is our Shannon.
Okay.
Because he's working on Orchard VNext.
Oh yeah.
Mostly the only one to work on that. And if we compare your phase to his, we'll be done years before them. So no worries. You will finish first.
Yeah, we can't really start the whole VNext thing until June next year anyway. You guys have the benefit of having nice and shiny new code all throughout your code base. We have 10 years worth of legacy code we need to chop off.
Yeah, we only have 5 years.
Yeah.
Piece of cake.
Well, yeah, you say that, but we are starting from scratch again, so it's an interesting concept.
Starting from scratch, but with the same concepts in terms of MVC. It's the same MVC. It's there are things.
We are saving a lot of design time.
That is true. That is very true. Yeah. That is very true. Yeah, I mean, if you get stuck on anything, then ask Sebastian.
Shannon is at the ASP.NET MVP, and Morten is on the Azure MVP because they are shipping their Umbraco as a service. And so Umbraco, can you explain what it is? I know, but maybe not everyone knows.
Yeah, so Umbraco as a service is our software as a service offering where you get Umbraco just with a few clicks of a button, all built on top of Azure, of course, and within the infrastructure that's quite similar to Azure websites. But the idea is that you get a development environment and a live environment, and these are totally independent of each other, only connected through a Git repository, which we use for deployments. So when you deploy your code, it's through Git. We have all the schema parts to Umbraco is serialized to disk, and then we have content is deployed through our back office. So both content and media is deployed through the back office. So if you need a staging environment, we can also put that in, and then editors can deploy content from staging to live, for example.
I didn't think about it. Benedek made a comment on this. I hope we had that. Yes, so Benedek and Zoltán is part of the committee, have a company named Longbeak, and they made .nest, which is actually the same thing. It's not using and they have also an RP, a resource provider in Azure, like you must have, I'm sure. Oh no, you don't have to because you are not integrated in Azure. It's your service using Azure, but in their case, they are integrated in the Azure portal. So you can say new Orchard website on .nest.
Okay.
So they will.
So you bring your own subscription, or
yes. It's them. Okay, yeah. I have nothing to do with that. I didn't even know until they showed it to the public. But yeah, they do the same thing. The advantage they have is that they are using multi-tenancy. You are right with your service.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, because Umbraco doesn't have multi-tenancy. They will have it for sure in .NET Core in the next version. They have to, otherwise, yeah.
We have multi-tenancy now.
You have multi-tenancy?
Well, to some extent, yeah.
To some extent.
Well, yeah. I mean,
okay, but you
can host multiple sites.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's all within the same installation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can't really hide the sites from each other, right? You should always see the same sites.
With permissions, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's about it. It's not.
Zoltán, did you guys finally hire a graphic designer?
Yeah, there's a beautiful one.
Yes. Okay. We have a very good one.
Thanks for the
He's
question,
working on good stuff.
He has a lot of things to catch up with, but yeah, the difference is huge.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
It looks professional.
All very heartwarming.
Maybe the shirt next year will be even better. Well, he did the shirts, so I want. So it's slower than.
Unfortunately, still old.
Yeah, it's slower than Context. That's crazy.
Well, that's indeed crazy because it should be fast.
Maybe that's me. Don't worry.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
So he hasn't done this one yet.
He's working on lots of work. Yeah, so we have kind of. I'm sure you provide more things than they do. We can start a fight, but we won't.
Well, you guys should chat. Definitely.
Yeah, we could cooperation instead of a fight.
Look, do you have Orchard 109 on Umbraco as a service? They do.
No.
See, beautiful. Wow. Good. Other questions?
I just have to ask, what are all you interesting people doing in the same room together?
It's the MVP summit in Redmond, so we're all just hanging out, sharing secrets.
Yeah, it's a secret meeting and you're not invited.
Yeah, that's kind of what I felt like. There was a party somewhere. I wasn't invited.
Yeah, I explained that at the beginning of the meeting. Maybe you arrived late. Yeah, and they are here for different. Yeah, it's like all the MVPs are invited in different rooms based on the technology they are MVP for, and then they get new stuff from the Microsoft employees about what's going on that nobody else can know, and you should not tweet about what you see and everything.
Unless you go on GitHub and just see it.
Sometimes you just have to go on GitHub to see what you should not talk about. So for instance, yesterday I shared a link on the Gitter room for Core Sierra, and then Fowler announced it 1 hour after. I was like, maybe I should not have shared the link because apparently it was NDA. And last night he said, oh, it seems Sébastien shared the link on the room, so I don't have to do it. And I didn't know it was private. It's because it was a public GitHub repository, so I shared it. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Don't use GitHub for public things, for private things.
It's a secret gist, so you're not supposed to.
No, there were two things. There was a secret gist.
I know. It's a mess.
The secret gist, I didn't share it, but the public generations things, it was public. It was public. So I think, okay, I can share it because the secret one, I know I can't share it. Yeah, that's it.
Should it have been public? That's the question.
Sipke had a demo.
Oh, Sipke demo. What about?
Oh yeah, I can show a small demo. It's okay.
Let me make you presenter. Where are you? Come on, down. Sipke. Go. You are presenter.
Okay, I'm looking for the present button.
Yeah, you've never done that before, have you?
Not in this one. not, or did I? This is Skype for Business. And it's recordings. Feel free to start presenting.
It's number 3 from the left, the bottom row.
Ah, thanks. There you go.
You are doing it every week, Sipke.
Yeah.
That's just me, because you had brain surgery, remember?
That's been a while. Okay, so this is a little thing that I built as part of our IDeliverable.Bits module, which is it's a free module with contains some useful bits and pieces that's useful when developing websites. And this is a little feature I've been working on this week. Basically, it builds on top of the ContentPickerField, which enables you to create relations between one content item to others. But it's like a one-way relation where, for example, with the Orchard Harvest website, we have speakers and sessions. And that relationship needs to be two-way so that you can see the speakers on a given session, or on a given speaker, you want to see all of the sessions he's doing. But for the Harvest side, we built something custom to expose that two-way relationship. And yeah, I figured, could we do something like that, but more generically? And the Content Picker seems perfect for that. But it just needed a little bit of enhancements. So the changes I made are not made to the ContentPickerField module, but to the it's done by an external module called IDeliverable.Bits. And the way it works is as follows: I prepared two content types, a speaker type and a sorry about that, that's the wrong solution, and a session content type. So let me open up the correct solution. And what it enables you to do is it uses the content picker field to select, for example, we have the session content type with a content picker field called speakers, so that it enables you to select one or more speakers for that session. And then when you go to the speaker content item, you will see all of the sessions he's linked to. And the nice thing about it is it works for any content type.
So while you prepare your demo, I will show, I will let you, so what I've done, I will share the YesSQL repository. So if you open the YesSQL repository, I've done a branch. I will share the branch maybe. DNX branch, just for Nick. Okay. So if you take the DNX branch, it's YesSQL working on DNX. So the idea being that it could make the, it will probably make the data access layer for Orchard vNext. Nick, what are you waiting to use it? Now it's done.
Waiting for you to plug it in, and don't. Yeah, I'm waiting for you to plug it in.
Plug it in. It works. You just have to use it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to do that work.
Okay, I see.
As a pull request.
Good.
Are you gonna? You're not gonna do it.
When I have time.
That means no, Nick.
No, I will.
Do it.
I will, but I thought you were blocked on that. You will do it.
Well, I was waiting for you to finish it. No, I'm going to wait for you to do it because I don't want to touch the data access stuff. I want to see what you come up with.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Sorry about the waiting. So as I mentioned, there's two sample content types I prepared. There's the sessions. So I created a keynote session, for example, which has the speaker, which has a content field called speakers, and it enables you to select a bunch of speakers like that. And when we save that, I just added Chris. And when we click on Chris, now we go to the speaker content item of called Chris, and there's a new tab called Connected By. This is added by a new content part that's introduced with this bits module, and that renders all of the inverse related content items. So we know that Chris is so this label is wrong. This is based on the content field. It should actually be based on the content type. That's work in progress. So this way you can see all of the speakers associated with the sessions this speaker is associated with. So if we look, for example, at Sebastian, he's doing two sessions here, and then that way you can easily set up two-way relationships using the content picker field. But this is still work in progress. I thought it's nice to just show because sometimes when developing websites, you want to set up this sort of relations. And also what's nice is the API enables you to query both ends of the relation. So if you have a session, you can query all of its speakers, and the other way around works as well. If you have a speaker, you can query all of its sessions. So it's similar to taxonomies. Sorry?
Is this Content Picker or is this something new?
It is Content Picker. I just implemented another driver for the same Content Picker field, so that I could, so that I can actually store a relation between the two content items. So there's a new table that will be created, storing the records from one linking one content item to other content items. And
so it's basically improving the content picker relation from a one to n to a one to an end-to-end relationship type.
Pretty much, yeah. It's
Do you have any new settings associated with that?
I plan on adding settings to the content picker fields, but at this point, initially I wanted to duplicate content picker fields and added some settings, but turned out to becoming the exact same thing as content picker. So at this point, there's no additional settings. But there may be settings added, maybe to customize labels, for example.
Yeah, I was thinking about that actually, precisely. Do you have a migration story from existing content picker fields?
Well, that's the thing. You don't have to. It will actually create those. Or will it? Yeah, I think it will. I will have to look at the code, but I think it will create those relations on the fly if they aren't there yet when you first access it. I need to look it up. But
first access it, or when you first save them?
Yeah, exactly. Probably when you first save them. But I will look that up, and that's good. That's a good point, because if you have an existing site, and you enable this feature, it should work as well. So that's a good note.
So the difference here is the extra UI and the new record that facilitates querying, right?
That's all. Yeah, it's very small change, and that's exactly right. That's the only two additions.
But if there is a new record, then we don't need the other field data. So in the end, we just use the record.
Yeah, because Content Picker stores a comma-separated list of IDs.
Hold on, because having a new record is actually great potential for new select n+1 problems. So
yes, yeah, the benefit of having a comma-separated list of IDs.
Well, no, well, it's potential for more.
Well, he's making the record just to be able to query things, to query on the ID, just to list things.
Right, so when he needs to access, if he wants to display the list of speakers for a session, for example, or vice versa, he will need to go through that link. And maybe you have select n+1 squared here if you're not careful, instead of select n+1, which was bad enough.
And maybe that's why you created an API too, just to say, give me the related, so you...
Yeah, so I think we need to better understand how this works with projections and so on, because I think it's pretty interesting, but we need to be careful about that, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right, Bertrand, because this is a list of records, while the content picker field enables you to select all of the linked content items just by accessing the content IDs or something like that, or just IDs. Content picker here, like this. You see, it's just a list of IDs, and you still want that. So yeah.
Well, you have the same issue today. That's what it means. Because today, if you list your speakers in a list,
you will have to query those guys.
You will also, and you will have a select n+1.
What I'm saying is that now you will have to not only query those guys, but also query the intermediate table, just to get the IDs. if you don't keep also the field
Yeah,
name.
select
So-
two selected plus ones.
So I was more answering your comment than Sipke's. Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Thanks.
So next week I show how we integrated, how Nick integrated YesSQL into Orchard. Okay, Nick?
Yeah, can we also rename that project?
Yeah. So let's decide on a new name then. Orchard V2.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So I explained to some of you why, because you asked me why can't we use a branch on Orchard. So the reason
It doesn't make sense.
yes, and also, what was the reason I gave you, Nick and Daniel? And you said yes, right, you're right. I forgot.
I don't remember.
Because we only have one master. Oh, the issues. Yeah, you create all the issues in the same repository and targeting Orchard 2, Orchard 1.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And we can do, so it's better to have a different repository. And we have a master branch in each of them, so that's better. The name, the repository could be Orchard 2, Orchard DNX, or whatever name they will give it. 2 is fine.
Yeah, let me have a think.
Because the namespace will be Orchard.
It will stay Orchard. Yeah.
But the repository. Okay, I suggest Orchard 2. If you have ideas, please send them. Anyway.
Let me have a think about what it should be.
Eventually this would be Orchard, no? And there would be an old Orchard.
Orchard 10.
Yeah.
We have an Orchard 10.
Orchaco.
It's one of them.
Orchard.ng. That used to be popular. Next gen.
Orchard vNext.
Yes, I think that's what I would prefer.
It's so obvious and boring, though.
Yeah.
And it will all cease to make sense as soon as it's done.
Yes.
Right, and maybe Orchard 2 is the best way to go.
Yeah,
Orchard 2 is nice.
Okay. We'll do that then.
Garden.
Garden, yeah. But then if you do a conference, then people will think it's for Orchard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Because they call it Code Garden.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thanks everyone. Anything else to say? Orchard 2.0. No, Orchard 2. Because I will be 2.1, 2, whatever, 2. Okay, so see you on Thursday. Thanks to the Umbraco guys.
Good to meet y'all.
Yep.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Later.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
And now you guys need to have a weekly meeting of your own so that you can invite us.
Yes.
Bye bye.